Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while. We are currently on the way to see the engine builder. So it's been, I think, about going on almost 2 years since the motor blew up, and we've just been collecting parts since then. A lot of things are like out of stock. I think the rods were out of stock for almost an entire year. So we're gonna go to the engine builder right now, and that way we can go over all the parts going into the motor so you guys can see that's not just like a basic rebuild. There's a lot more that's going into it. So just stay tuned. We're gonna drive there right now. This is the CAYMAN motor build update, and this is the update of all the parts going into the motor. This is Tito here from you following at Tito at Artwork.
Hello.
He's going to be the one building the motor, so we're just going to go over all the parts going in the motor, and basically all the upgrades that we're going to be doing. Because a lot of times when people blow these motors, they either put a stock one in, or a lot of people will go from a 3.4 to a 3.8, and then that's it. They'll just bore it out, do the bigger pistons, put the motor together, put it back in. There's actually a lot of things that we could do to the motor that no one ever really talks about, like using forged parts, also changing the compression, like getting special performance parts. Basically, we're just trying to create a stronger motor for the racetrack.
And while you're there, it's a more efficient motor.
Oh yeah, because the motor's already apart, we just want it to be more durable and last longer for the track. So let's go over all the parts going into this thing. I guess we'll just start from
probably the crank. That's probably one of an important trick, a lot of people don't even consider. Some of the old air-cooled Porsche guys do it, but these cranks come with no groove here and on your mains, which your mains is what supplies oil, feeds oil to your rods. And if we'll show you later, the main bearings don't have a 360 groove, they have a small groove. But now by modifying this, we have marine cranks do a 360 groove on all of them, so now we have a supply of oil all the time to the mains, and then from the mains to your rod journals. Yeah, so you usually don't starve. A lot of the times when you see like people, they spin rod bearings, this is what they're talking about. So what happens is, like, there's no oil going between the rod and the bearing, right? Yeah, so this is what it'll look like if you spin a rod bearing. So basically the crank gets chewed up because there's no oil. So this will actually, the grooves will keep oil between the rod and the crank. Yeah. So you have less chance of spinning the rod. Yeah, there's no stock. You see how this smooth. Yeah, there's no journals. You can see here on an OEM Porsche bearing that the main bearing, the groove is only here and here. Yeah. So on the OEM bearing, this is the OEM bearing. Yeah, there's just a tiny little groove here for oil to flow through. You can see, you get some, but not 360. Here, it's not feeding oil right here. But by doing the grooves on the mains, then you have a 360 groove, and you have oil feeding all the time. So there's pressure feeding to the rods from here. So they stay lubricated, more reliability. These are the ARP head studs. Basically, the head studs keep the heads to the block. And a lot of times, if you are running high RPMs, the head studs can stretch out. Right. What happens is the head would not be as tight on the block, and you would have clearance issues, and it could also lead to your motor failing. You'll get compression in your coolant, which you don't want, or it could overheat. In a non-turbo application, not a huge deal, but with high compression, it is. Yeah. Or if you over rev, it could already stretch out your head bolts. So it's always a good idea to replace them, and these aren't too much more expensive to run these performance upgraded ones from ARP versus the stock ones, so might as well. There's also the crank mains. And the crank mains, these basically hold the two halves of the cranks together because you have an H motor. Since it's a horizontal motor, it's not just one block, it's like two blocks held together. Through like a crank cradle, which we'll show you. I mean, we could show you the crank cradle here. This basically goes between the two halves. Let's go over the most important upgrade that we're doing to this motor. We're going from a 3.4 liter to a 3.8. And this is the new block. Well,
it's not new, but we had a machine. So let's check this out. How much bigger is this than stock?
From 3.4 to 3.8, 96 millimeter to 101. It's a Darden sleeve.
Do you have a stock piston that we could see? Oh, is that a stock piston?
No, that's an Aventador. This is a 3.4.
There's a Aventador piston just laying around.
Yeah.
So there's a 3.4 piston.
I mean,
Oh yeah.
there's a big difference. I mean, it's hard to tell, right? Because
So
this has the rings, but you see it
Yeah. So we're getting a lot more displacement here.
right there.
So what is displacement for?
Easiest way to make power is
Easiest way.
Yeah, displacement.
A lot of times people will go 3.4 to 3.8, but if they don't do supporting mods, you almost get kind of like a sluggish motor, kind of, right?
No, you get more torque, but you don't benefit everything out of it. Because
you
didn't
leave
do
a
the
lot.
heads, you didn't do porting, you didn't do valve job.
So
You didn't up the compression if you could.
so basically you leave a lot on the table,
Yeah,
which is this table. You left all this.
yeah. yeah.
So
997.
these are the new pistons. Let's check this out. This is,
There it is.
yeah, so these also, we went with a special coating. It's like ceramic coated on top, and it's molybdenum.
Molybdenum.
Don't roast
know.
me on
You can
what
Google
how
it.
you. Basically, this helps prevent like piston slap, right?
Molybdenum.
Molybdenum, whatever. You guys look it up.
It's a coating, which
Yeah.
is actually a metal. It's a
Because
type of
this
metal.
part basically can hit the piston or the cylinder walls.
especially on cold starts.
Yeah, so this will help protect the cylinder walls so you don't get like wear on that or like bore scoring.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll, like all this, the ceramic coating on top
I mean-
helps with keeping heat in the combustion chamber and not going through.
Yeah,
The
it's
piston in your
using
motor, right?
using the energy.
Yeah.
This is a good example of bore scoring. See here, probably a better side, how it's supposed to look, and then this side is just really bad.
Yeah. So that happens when the piston's sitting in the cylinder and it kind of, because it doesn't go straight up and down, it kind of
Yeah. This would be
rotates a little and it hits the cylinder wall. And
because
it
of gravity.
eventually
This would be the bottom of the engine,
Yeah.
and then this is the top. Doesn't get affected.
So then we also have K1 forged rods. And pistons are forged. And then the rods are now forged. Let's check these out. K1 forged. So we run forged rods. That just makes it stronger, right?
Yeah.
More reliability. We also had the piston pins. This connects the rod to the piston. This has been WPC treated. The piston rings are also WPC treated. And basically WPC treating, you can look it up. Moto IQ does a lot of it.
Your bearings, all your bearings.
All our bearings are
main
done.
and rod bearings.
Basically, it makes it a harder surface, and it's more like lubricated naturally. So even if you have a moment where you run maybe a little drier of oil, like it'll still be more like lubricated. So it'll protect the motor more. So
Yeah.
basically, more reliable.
Yeah, it could hold more oil on a microscopic level.
Yeah.
So it could lubricate more.
Cylinder head was also modified. We ended up porting it out.
Yeah, we could do this. We show the combustion chamber to match the 101 millimeter
So basically,
from 96.
the stock piston would be like here.
Yeah.
But so people would go with a bigger piston, but not get this ported. So now, since we have a bigger piston, we got this ported, so the flow is perfectly around.
Yeah,
the
it's about
valves.
5 mil difference, which doesn't sound like much, 2.5 on each side, but it's a small lip, and you're leaving all this lip here in the way of potential flow and de-shrouding the valve. So now this is opened up, so the valve could breathe more.
Yeah. And then also
And then the ports are all cleaned up.
the head's
the
also been
transition.
ported.
Let's see if we get some light. Where it transitions from the port to the seat, the valve seat, it's all been smoothed out on the short radius, long radius, and then it has, can't see it, but it has a motorsport style 5-angle intake valve job, and then radius cut exhaust.
So basically, it's more
Just flows
capable of making more power.
Yeah, it flows well.
Engine
it's
build's
another
very
one of
expensive.
those- yeah, none of those things like
It's very
already
expensive.
there.
Yeah.
It's like if we don't do it now, you're never gonna do it. You're not gonna take the whole
No,
engine apart
hell no.
just to port it because it's just too much work.
Yeah. And especially with NA, it's not like turbo. You can't just up the boost.
Yeah.
You really got to squeeze everything you can out of
Yeah.
this motor. So, also we have new IMS bearing from LN Engineering.
This is an important thing.
So this is for increased reliability. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of IMS issues. Usually Caymans don't suffer too much from it, but it can happen. So might as well.
You could see the stock one here. It's just a sealed ball bearing. Not great.
Yeah. So basically, it
No
totally
oil,
cannot fail now.
Versus
so
this.
we're just getting rid of it. It's a little basically cheap insurance.
This with an oil feed line.
It's also expensive insurance, but
Well,
sometimes it's like a. Was it like a 10% failure rate or something like that?
It's less, on
it's less on Caymans, but 911s it could be like.
It could be higher on the older ones, but
yeah.
on this engine to swap that out later, you have to take the whole engine apart because the bearing is bigger.
Now.
The bearing is bigger than the opening on the cast.
Yeah. So there's no way to get it out unless you
open it up. These are coated. You could kind of see.
WPC treated.
Yeah.
So more durable and more slick.
Yeah, it could hold.
So rod bearings and main bearings. So we had to do all that.
All your timing chain guides.
All brand new.
And tensioners.
Yep.
All new.
All new timing chain, everything. Also the paddle, right? There's a billet.
Yeah. This is
paddle because
the IMS tensioner.
So this can fail, so we just replaced it.
Yeah. Same thing
also
with this.
cheap insurance.
You bought the upgraded drive.
Like normally they don't fail, but imagine spending all this money on this motor, and then it does fail. That'd be terrible. That's also why I want you guys to see Tito.
Yeah, and those are
because if anything happens to my motor, we know who to blame.
If that fails, it's a complete teardown. So it's like,
and who knows what else it will take out if it fails.
Yeah.
Also,
from Cometic.
Cometic head gaskets. So it's also a larger size to accommodate the bigger pistons.
Yeah, they're custom 101, and Porsche doesn't sell that, so you have to get a Cometic's the only one that we know of that makes them.
All we want is reliability because we don't want to.
Oh, you got that thermostat. Where's it at?
Oh, low temperature thermostat. Yeah. There's also like a bunch of other little things.
Yeah, those.
But as far as engine internals, there's basically almost everything you could do other than like doing cams and bigger valves and stuff. I don't know what else you could possibly do to this motor, but whatever it is, we're trying it. All right, guys, I think that's pretty much everything. It should take Tito. How long do you think it'll take to build the motor?
The motor itself, my goal is by this weekend coming up. So I don't know.
You think he's gonna have the motor together by this weekend?
Yeah.
I don't want him to rush, so take your time. And yeah, that's it. Stay tuned, guys, for when we drop this thing in. Hit that like and subscribe button, and thanks for watching.